What is going on, everyone? This is Jordan with Conquer Trading Investing. I had to jump on here. Okay, we're on time. Good. Just going to give everyone, obviously, a couple of minutes to get going here. It's going to be a big day. The bolastic market continues. I was really excited to get on this morning because I am just, wow, the anticipation of going over these charts and finding out what's going on. I'm all over it. There's something going on here with the US dollar, Japanese yen. I want to take a deep dive into right now, and it's at a very important level. Obviously, we've seen some big moves again on the dollar. It looks like that's possibly being reversed right now. We're going to talk about that. I'm not jumping against it, that's for sure. What is going on, Aaron? First one in the morning. Good morning, Jesse, Dinkar, Danielle, Alberto. Alberto, what's your target on the peso over here? I would love to be able to collecting that swamp also, but I'm not jumping in here. I don't know. I don't think we saw the top of the dollar today. Although we closed that gap on the euro US dollar, the Macron gap. I'm still holding my short. If I was giving up on my short so easily, I've already would have taken profits on that trade, and I wouldn't have been here this morning for the close. So I'm still holding. Definitely a bit of a bounce since closing that gap, 100 pips. But I'm not declaring everything's fixed and all is right with the world, and that the current brokenness of the financial system is going to end, and all of a sudden there's dollars for everyone. I am more waiting for, well, I'll get into it all. I'll get into it all with everyone just in a moment. All right. Awesome, John. Hey, John, stay safe out there. Keep everyone, purelled, and keep that distance. Stay safe out there. Mima, pass the coffee. Pass it my way. All right. So let me start. Let's get into it. Those that are not with us live will be able to catch up with us on the replay. First thing we've noticed is last 2 days. Well, let's get into it all. I'm not going to confine myself into any type of order. I'm just gonna go freestyle and share my thoughts with you. And then I'm gonna look for yours, especially here. Maybe we start here in the US dollar, Japanese yen. Let's take a look here first before I get into anything, because we were looking at this all yesterday, and I was talking about this line. I made it blue. First blue line ever on the stream. What an important level, right? Why is this line blue, and why are we here? In case anyone doesn't know, this trend line over here, this trend line, it goes back 5 years. That's a big deal. That's a big trend line. Yesterday, we were looking at the powerful moves that trend lines can lead to. This one broke out here finally to the upside, was then rejected. And this test of the broken resistance didn't hold as support. Not only that, once it took out this blue line, 10971, it then went free fall all the way down. And now all of a sudden, it's made a V-type recovery, and we're back at this critical resistance. What happens from here? Because we're back now at this trend line, and we're back at this 10971, that important line this is when the breakout failed, but we now have recovered it. What do we do? Well, there's 2 plays from here, and as of today, we could consider both of them. What's going on right there? I got a stutter in my stream. This is a big deal. This trend line break over here. Now over here, we're back to that important level over here. It's going to be very easy to trade off this level one way or another. Either we're going to be rejected here today by this level and start trading down again, or we're going to break out to the upside. Now, it's first of all, in my mind, is Japanese safe haven. In my mind, is 2008 Japanese yen stronger than the US dollar. But this is different, right? This is 2020. this is something is wrong in the global system, uh, and we're seeing the U.S. dollar wrecking havoc. If we talked about it before it happened, it's happening now, and I don't think that it's going to get better. I think it's going to get much worse before it gets better. Um, Again, the, I would have. I'm still holding my shorts, and I would have taken profit. I would have taken profit probably yesterday. Remember last night, the euro was trading up after the ECB went ahead and sent out another bazooka. I don't know if it was 750 billion or 850 billion. I'm losing track when it's under a trillion these days, because that's what they're doing. I'm holding, and I am personally looking down for 0.1045 area, maybe 5, 1.05, and probably then I will reevaluate and be looking much lower. I think I'm looking until I see a breakup of the EU. Hey, listen, you got to be in it to win it, but I want to get into this trade now, one way or the other, and I'm completely undecided which way the U.S. dollar, Japanese yen is going to go. So I'm going to let the charts do that. How do I do that? How am I going to do that? Is it going to be off the 8-hour? Is it going to be off the 4-hour? I don't know. I'm going to plan this out here with you, and or I'm looking at these two lines I have over here, this 110.53, and then I'm looking at this 108.86. Gonna wait for a break to either one of them. I'm undecided. I'm taking the trade. I'm not taking the trade right now during this live stream. So I will today in the newsletter update on what's going on and how I'm playing it. And we will come back probably in about 90 minutes on this live stream and take a look at it. Probably what I'm leaning towards right now is either using that resistance or these are backwards, this resistance or this support level, a break above one of those two levels, and or I'll be looking, well, I don't know. I don't know, but I know that I know that we're right now at that magic level. We're exactly at it, and I will be looking to trade off of it either to the upside or downside. Let's put it that way. Boom. Thomas, buenos dias. The Mexican peso, she's at 24. The thought in my mind was 26. I don't know. Listen, I'm just not looking to trade against the dollar. I don't think regardless of the fact, I don't think that we've topped out on the dollar. I don't think we've come close. I actually think, and I could be dead wrong, that what's going to happen is, of course, retraces and pullbacks aside, of course, I'm even looking for the U.S. Treasury to get involved here. But what I think is where I think the course we're headed is that what is going to need to stop the U.S. dollar is going to be some type of synchronized global agreement, right? Whether that's something like the Plaza Accord or something big. And until that happens, I'm pressing my luck with the U.S. dollar. So one thing that I wanted to talk about today, why I remember, is gold. Now, gold has gotten beaten up recently. Gold is obviously, the high was about, call it 1,700. What is the high? 1,950 of all time. Looking and expecting for gold, throughout after all this to blow away the old all-time highs. But guys, considering what's been happening, the gold is actually holding up pretty well. Gold is up. What is gold off? 15%. This is important. Just give me 1 second. Yeah, gold has been off 15% at the low right here. Exactly 15%. Now, considering the beating that the dollar is putting on everything else, gold is holding up pretty well. And why of course, all of us are under the belief and impression that gold could, guys, this is all much more important than our normal looking for setups at this moment. Because we're again, and I've been saying this for a while now, that you want to be positioning yourself during this type of environment and getting into what positions you can, right? Once you have a portfolio established of some positions, and as that's gaining in value, if you want to trade around that, whether it's through your normal day or swing trading, by all means. But we are in an abnormal situation, and if you have to be aware and also position yourself during it. Otherwise, you're going to lose money because all assets are dropping, and or this is an opportunity to actually profit with this type of volatility. So why I'm talking about gold though in this morning, because even though it is off 15%, even though it could go off another 15% and or more, I do think it's very important, just speaking about the dollar, and eventually we're going to see some type of reset, right? Some type of intervention that's actually going to really damage the dollar, because otherwise everything is going to break. I think it's really important that, of course, we all know and talked about owning physical gold, right? Actually, I was talking about that with Blair yesterday. And if anyone has, if anyone needs any information as far as how to go about purchasing physical gold, which I have no idea anymore, but now I understand it's actually getting harder and harder. And of course, there are higher premiums paying for the physical stuff over the paper stuff. That's fine, because the paper stuff is trading down right now, right? Gold's trading at 1470. I don't value gold at 1470. I value it higher. But there's a reason that the physical stuff has a premium on it, because there's less of it than the paper stuff. So you got to do what you got to do. And if you don't own any, you have to own some. But the important piece of this, even in your foreign exchange accounts, taking a small percentage on the paper stuff could be a big protection if something happens. Whereas, we wake up tomorrow, and I don't think that's going to happen. But if we wake up tomorrow and all of a sudden the powers of B have come to some type of agreement in order to get the dollar to back off, right? Because you could see gold skyrocket literally overnight, right? Of course, there's more downside. You have to do your math. If you're taking a small piece in your portfolio, your paper portfolio, to protect yourself overall, you have to take a small percentage of your portfolio, and then you have to do the math to figure out how much downside you could give for. All right. Boom. George, we're gonna get into it all. The other thing I want to talk about is Bitcoin right now, and not because it's up, but because the last 2 days you've seen it decoupling. You've seen the markets down 2 days in a row, Bitcoin up 2 days in a row with the market down. I said before it happened that I believe that correlation was going to stop, that I don't believe. I believe that Bitcoin is its uncorrelated asset with its own 4-year cycle. I think you're seeing that played out. And that's not to say if the equity markets crash another 50%, that we won't see lower lows than we saw on Bitcoin. Anything could happen these days. Everything's out the window. We're in a crisis. Anything could happen. All of them pointing out, in the last 2 days, you have seen the uncorrelation of Bitcoin taking place, right? Also note, gold is down. Equity markets are now open 15 minutes, trading pretty much near their lows, about 1% off or 1.5% off of their lows of yesterday. All right. Thoughts on this? Anyone? Why I start going into the pairs right now? We'll start with the Euro Japanese yen, of course, and any other pairs or all of them. I want to get a good idea of what's going on. I wanted to give that important over top view perspective first. Anyone has any ideas on this, or anyone has any thoughts on the US dollar, Japanese yen, please share them. Let's start with the euro, Japanese yen. This is beautiful. When I say this is beautiful, I'm looking here, seeing the Australian dollar, Japanese yen up 2%. I wanted to go much higher because the Canadian dollar, Japanese yen up 2%. I believe the yen is the weakest today. If anyone has any type of, well, if anyone knows why, please let me know. Please let us know, I should say, because I have not had a chance to read any news or any analysis. I'm just going off of what I see happen. I also see the Swiss franc up today. Weird to see risk off currency pairs off today so much, and the equity market's still down by a lot. Remember, 3.5%. If that would have happened 3 weeks ago, everyone would be shocked and awed. Now, if it's not 7%, we're kind of used to it. Amazing, amazing, amazing. All right, so we're gonna start with the euro, Japanese yen, but first, dollar definitely so far this morning peaked out over here at 102.34, is now off 50 cents. Why I don't know what's happening. I remain at these levels. I believe we could see much further extension. There's no way I am trading against the dollar, and I'm still holding my my shorts. Now, I'm looking for her. Here we are. So euro, Japanese yen, I noticed this cluster. The first thing I noticed is this cluster right here. It's a big one, from 116 to 120, 400 pips. We're now in the center of that, right? And why I don't have these lines drawn in, I think this is the big one up here at, let me draw them in because they're all important. It should be red and big. So I see my little bit of resistance up a little bit higher. Are we at one right now? Sure. Look at these 2 points over here. These 2 areas of support. That's minor, small, local resistance. We're kind of trading right into it right now, a little above. This area over here where my mouse is right now, I think is an area to sell into. I personally remain a Japanese yen bull in this environment. Again, I'm looking for anyone's got any insight to why, if there is a reason that the yen is off today, but against the dollar, and I've been the last week I've been playing out in my head, is it possible we see a breakout to the upside on the US dollar, Japanese yen, and yet the yen stronger than all other currencies? Well, that makes a lot of sense to me. Over the past few weeks, the US dollar has been the strongest currency, and then followed by the Japanese yen. So I don't see why that can't play out, why I can't be long US dollar, Japanese yen, even though 2008 Japanese yen outperforms the dollar. This isn't 2008, this is 2020. It is a different environment, but there's no way I would or will take any trades against the Japanese yen. I don't play for the retraces, I play for the trend. And any pullbacks in a trend, I look to sell into resistance. Been waiting for those. And I'm not saying they're here yet today by any means, but yet Japanese yen has been overextended. We're seeing a pullback today. Well, that's just the first sign. Is this the best pair to jump into? I don't see it. Do I see further euro weakness? I think so. All right. Choppy. Yeah, it's so choppy. Absolutely, Hassan. This is choppy. And when you're in the choppiness, the other thing you could do is pull back and go to a higher time frame and try to get a better read on it. But there's nothing there that's attractive. Now, British pound, New Zealand dollar. Wow. So I say wow because look at this spike. Now, yesterday, why the pound was weak, we looked at this And it's hard when the downside of looking at and trading with so many different FX pairs is that there is opportunity and you can only seize on so much opportunity unless you start trading really small, right? If you start trading, instead of risking, for example, 1% on a trade, start risking a 1/4% on a trade. Well, then you could take, 4 times as many trades on as many pairs. So, but either which way, we're down. This was an opportunity. This was an opportunity, right? This was an opportunity yesterday while we were looking at it. This spiked up. Is it still an opportunity down here? I think so. I myself, and I think many others out there are have a little bit of trouble understanding why the pound got so wrecked yesterday. I can understand versus the dollar, but not versus everything else. And I'm also having a hard time processing or understanding why the euro is outperforming the pound by so much. But here we are, and we're looking at the pound New Zealand dollar. And again, I do remain bullish on the UK over New Zealand. So again, but as Husan just said, choppy. This is pretty wild. This is pretty volatile, and there's opportunity to be made in it. And the closer we get down, even a little lower towards the lows, where you could define your risk a little bit better, gets a little more attractive. Euro US dollar, we took out. We finally closed the gap, the Macron gap, and we bounced up off of it. What does that mean? Again, me personally, I'm holding it, and I continue to hold it, and I'm just not looking to give it up. I'm looking for it to be a core position here in my portfolio, and as far as, well, we call that, I was asked last week on the live stream where I thought a near-term target was, and I said all the way down here at this level, the 1.07760. We reached it today, and even though we reached it directly after saying that, I said, but that's not my target. I'm looking much lower, and I gave 2 numbers. The first number, this next number I gave was 1.045. In that area, and then after that, let's see what happens when we get down here, right? This is to be, I'll call it 1.05, but really it's 1.045. In that area is my next target now, and I don't know how we get there. I don't know that we don't retrace first or anything like that. There still is a nice swamp collected because of the negative interest rates here. That monthly candle looks ominous, right? How many traders were caught over here on the wrong side of this? Now, this is obviously a fluid situation, and I feel funny saying it, but ultimately, I mean, 80 cents seems reasonable here, right? Let's see what happens over these next several weeks, and let's see if we start hearing talk about fragmentation in the EU. Because if we start seeing that or hearing that, especially if it comes from France or Germany, this could wind up getting interesting. So those are my thoughts on it. Now, is that so? Here we are now. This is the Australian dollar, Swiss franc, and so we are very man, this always kills me. This was the trade that I gave up on. Of the that this is shouldn't have. This was so overextended, the Australian dollar, that you're saying, why is it up so much? And I'm wondering myself, is it nothing more than just a simple retrace? She had come too far too soon, and we're just seeing a little bit of a retrace. It's really not that big of a deal, considering if you step back and look since the beginning of the month, when she's off 1,000 pips. So she's just retracing, which means for me, I want to get short here, but just not yet. So have you all noticed that sometimes you act a little bit too soon? Has anyone noticed in their trading that they do see things correctly, but they act too soon? Um, I'd raise my hand. That's something that I try to work on. Even if you were just to move your entries off by 10 or 15 pips, probably overall that would improve your performance a lot. My uncle delivered newspapers. He had 2 newspaper routes, retired in his early 60s, retired a multimillionaire from investing in the stock market. And he told me when I was little that he would always place his buy order like 5% down from where he wanted to buy it. Man, that type of patience, your trades ever go against you? Your trades go against you most of the time like that? Think about it. Of course, I'm talking about trading off of swing time frames, a little bit higher time frames. I think, Thomas, that this has more room to retrace. I don't know that we will get it. It would be nice to see the daily start making higher highs, which hasn't happened since for about 10 days. I'm eyeballing it, but since from up here, since March the 5th, has not made a higher high on the daily time frame. It would be nice to see the daily time frame start making higher highs. Probably not go straight up in a V. Maybe wiggle around a little bit, but until I start seeing higher highs, I can't begin about thinking to get short here when we start then coming in the other way. So still got room here. I would like to be short. And I don't know if it's days and or weeks that I have to give it, but patience pays. This whole situation. I think that what we're looking at over here is probably best case scenario. The whole situation peaks out, 7 to 8 weeks from now. And then after that, I do think that we get have we seen peak fear right now? Maybe. There's a possibility that we've seen peak fear and that we trade up a little bit. And then I do believe that after we see the peak of the virus, that there will be resurgences in certain areas, and that will be scary. And then we'll see huge bouts of risk off. But aside from all of that, the question we're all going to have to talk about later is, was the amount of stimulus provided, if things return are defeated 2 months from now, is that enough to bring us back from the brink of collapse and go into a period of global growth? Or is the damage just beginning to the economy, and are we going to see things much worse? I lean towards the much worse camp right now. We'll talk it out and figure it out. It's obviously fluid situation. New Zealand dollar, Swiss franc, absolutely same exact similar situation. So there's nothing else to add to the conversation here. Again, since March 5th, we have seen over here a higher high on the daily one time, but pretty much same story. Let's give it some room. Let's give it some weight. I would like to, let's just give it some room. All right. Euro, British pound, finally pound making some gains off of this uber move. Wow. Wow, trying to follow the systems cleaned up. So what do we do with it? So if anyone's seeing anything different, great. Yeah, I understand aggressive counter trend traders here, which if you are, you probably pick the top, multiple times. You probably pick the top over here. You probably pick the top over here, maybe even over here, over here. If you're saying that you picked it over here, I mean, but come on, that's not trading. There's no edge in that. So what do? You can't do anything. We need to wait, right? So that's it. Euro, Canadian dollar. Canadian dollar coming up. I'm just observing. Look at these ranges we're in right now. Look how far we come off. I'm just observing. So Canadian dollar finally coming off versus the euro. Euro seeing that weakness today against the pound and Canadian dollar. I'm painting the picture. This is what needs to be done. Euro came off very hard ever since the ECB acted last night. Germany is talking about letting go of their debt limits. Now, if you remember what happened in the hyperinflation period in, forgive my pronunciation, Weimar, Germany, right? When their currency became worthless, which led up really to Hitler, the rise of Hitler and World War II. They're afraid of that ever happening again. They've had very strict debt controls. They are now, Angela Merkel said, throwing that out the window and ready to go into debt. Is the euro acting off of that today, or is it the ECB's influence yesterday? One or the other. Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar at a stalemate today, unchanged on the day. Really nothing to see or hear here as well. Listen, the moves that were happened over the last 10 days have been hard and sharp. This is giving us a little bit of, we're moving into a little bit of a consolidation now and or retrace, and that's only going to give us opportunity to get into trades in the coming days. All right. New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar, New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar, New Zealand dollar. Look at this wick. It's just enormous, right back up into this pocket that it's now resistance. This does become interesting over here. This becomes interesting. I'll look on the 8-hour. Let me pull up another chart and wait. I don't want to get off here. Stream is still. If we get rejected over here, this is an opportunity to the downside. And or if we do not get an entry because price does not take us into the entry, when we come back up to this area over here, this will provide an area as well, an area to watch. I need a new color. My stuff's all messed up. All right, come back and look at them. I'll come back to it. New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar. US dollar continues its rise versus the Swiss franc. So this is really interesting. Why this is interesting? Because this is the same exact thing happening. The V, notice the V on the US dollar, Japanese yen, and the Swiss franc. US dollar becoming the dominant currency over the Japanese yen, over the Swiss franc. It is different than 2008, and it's different because we've talked about it. We've read up on the milkshake theory. I hope I shared that I did share that $12 trillion US dollar short margin call article with you, and here you see the same exact thing playing out on the against the Japanese yen here on the Swiss franc. In 2008, US dollar did outperform the Swiss franc, breaking out to the upside over here, above 110. This above 110.10, above 110.24. This starts becoming uber bullish and can start running away. Something's up 2%, right? But it's also up $10 or 10% in the last week. Wow. Think about that. All right. I hope it doesn't get away from me. But I'm not entering at this moment. I should have drawn my line in the sand at 109.71. Either which way, patience. Do not FOMO ever. All right, let's just keep reading, see what's going on out there. Let's get really good awareness because finally things have stopped that free fall. All right. We are the British pound, Canadian dollar. So I'm thinking here in my mind, similar to the pound New Zealand dollar, right? Which looks a lot better here than the Canadian dollar. Canadian dollar has made some pretty big gains versus the British pound. This might be an area to come in and buy. You can see over here, let me draw in this area of support that we stopped at. This looks attractive to me. All right, I think we have some bargains going on over here on the pound. This looks interesting to me. Pound New Zealand dollar, pound Canadian dollar. Now, what's oil doing today as we speak of the Canadian dollar? Oil's unchanged on the day, trading at $22.34. All right. Pound Canadian dollar, pound New Zealand dollar. Interesting swing trade opportunities. All right, euro, Swiss franc. Wow, euro is very weak today. Again, we don't know if that's because of the ECB or because of Germany. But here we are, and again, I've cautioned and cautioned and cautioned when a lot of traders here wanted to lean into the long side, not to do that. We could get a spike. You don't want to short it either because at any moment the notorious Swiss central bank could jump in there against you. So this pair is actually unflagged, meaning stay away at these levels. Boom. Look at this. There's probably momentum traders, probably further momentum here to play on the downside. If I was up earlier during London, it could have been a different story. Wouldn't trade it anyway, you know that. But look at these levels. Wow. Australian dollar. We've seen coming back bid versus other things. We're seeing the equity markets off their lows for the day. Nothing to get excited about. I'll get excited when the equity markets go limit up. It would be nice to see them go limit up after so many limit downs here. By the way, silver at $12. Who wants to own silver at $12? Is it going down to 7.5? I wouldn't be surprised, but pretty attractive levels. All right. Canadian dollar, Japanese yen. Now, this is one that I'm glad also. This is a position that I would like to have as a core position here, short. So any opportunities in a retrace over here, it would be interesting to see if oil could catch a bid, maybe get back up to $28 somewhere around there. And I'm not saying that it will, but it would be interesting to see where that puts the Canadian dollar. Nevertheless, I'm stalking this. I'm stalking the Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, Swiss franc. I'm stalking the Canadian dollar, Australian dollar, Canadian dollar, Japanese yen. And I'm interested today in perhaps an active trade on the US dollar, Japanese yen. That could go either way, to the upside or downside. I'm flexible. It's at that really important inflection point. 109.71 is the line in the sand, the breakout to the upside, or if it fails to the downside, it's an attractive level because right away if you're wrong or you're right, and you can position to the other side. We're going to be seeing, I believe, I don't think we're going to be consolidating around that area. I think it's an important breakout area. All right. So Canadian dollar, Japanese yen, I'm excited to see it finally off its lows today, and I'm going to give it some more time. I'm only going to step in here if I'm like, okay, probably when people are like, okay, I want to buy this, right? We start trading up to $80 and they're like, okay, let's buy something attractive. Patience needs key in this environment. This is the type of environment where fortunes can be made. You have to be smart. New Zealand dollar, US dollar, boom, look at that wick just coming off. With the strong dollar today, a strong dollar is coming off of, remember, it's the Japanese yen and euro, with the euro primarily the weight of the DXY. So you could see the DXY up on the day, yet off against these commodity currencies. This is just basically a little bit of a retrace, a reprieve from falling into the brink. The pound Japanese yen is up big time. You're seeing that yen weakness across the board, but is it yen weakness, or is it really just yen taking a breath after, what are we down here, 1,500 pips? Ugh. If you don't look at your mistakes, there's no way you can fix it. I mean, I was short all the way up here somewhere. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. All right. Nevertheless, let's keep going. Here we go. This is interesting. This is the Japanese yen index. I don't know. I have no idea how this is weighted, if it's weighted more towards the US dollar or not. So I can't give any type of insight into that. But what we did see, the breakdown occurring over here of the index, right? And then that was a fake to the upside. Look at that move. And now are we seeing a break back down? Kind of looks to me like this is heavily weighted towards the US dollar. So I'm not going to pay it any mind because it's mirroring what we're seeing on the US dollar and not on other Japanese yen currencies. So for now on, I'll just look at the US dollar, Japanese yen. Here we go. This is nice, up almost 3%, unchanged since yesterday. If you take away the last, 48 hours of trading, and really interesting to see that. Let's just give it time, right? Let's give it time. Um, Kudos to anyone who had, was able to go in here and jump in down there. I mean, obviously reckless. Catching fallen knives doesn't really make sense. This is not a case where the knife has fallen on the ground. You can go ahead and pick it up. This was catching a fallen knife, and you're just seeing enormous volatility. Currency pairs up and down 3% in 2 days. Think about that. Up, down 3%, and then up 3% in 2 days. Euro getting whacked, but is it getting whacked again? Look at the up move we've seen on these pairs, right? Will we be going higher in the upturn over here? I don't know, to be honest. I don't even know what's going on. Stay away when things are unclear. Just wait for them to clear up a little bit further. Australian dollar, Canadian dollar. Just these are these moves are like awe-inspiring, right? Sincerely, look at that. Just a little bit of a retrace on the Australian dollar. I don't know what levels we would look to be shorting these things over here. So we're obviously just waiting. As you see this type of movement, you need to wait for the consolidation. You need to wait for that consolidation to start building out. You guys can picture it in your mind. You've seen it occur so many times. And then after the consolidation, then we could play a break, whether it's to the up or down side. But right now, everything that we're looking at here is in a similar fashion. And we're recognizing here the extreme volatility, the choppiness, and let's play it smart, right? Don't be in a rush. US dollar, Canadian dollar, also one of my worst trades all year, thinking I did so well. What I get, from right here to here. Oh, 150 pips. And meanwhile, we talked about where she was going. I did that day. I said she's going to take out this level, this level, this level, this level, all the way up to 141. And we went up 500 pips higher. What's going to happen as we retrace down over here? Is that the high put in, the all-time high? Probably not. Are we way too high to establish a long position? Yes, I think so. If you're positioned in this is not for this, only the US dollar, Canadian dollar. At the same time, I'm talking about the euro US dollar that I'm positioned in, and any other one who's holding a position, and we all should have been holding many other positions. I didn't follow my own advice. I talked about 3 weeks ago and 2 weeks ago the importance of getting into positions and holding those positions. I was beating the drum to all of us, because whatever I say to you, I'm saying to myself. That's the whole point of me doing this, right? And I was talking about the importance of really holding on to those positions in this environment. Train's gone left, all right? You don't then try to make up for it by chasing. You wait for the next opportunity. There's always opportunity in the markets. If you're chasing after opportunity, if you're always chasing after and you're never before it, you're never taking part in that opportunity. So what is the opportunity here? Nothing, right? If you're holding this, do you give it up? You take profits, but I don't know, right? Again, I keep referring back to the US Mexican peso. We're at 24. Would you be surprised if we saw 26? Would you be surprised if that happened within a week? New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen, same exact story. Look how it came off that support. I didn't even know that was there. Interesting. Nevertheless, it's not time yet to begin looking for any type of longs. And again, first, let's see some higher highs on the daily. Let's look for consolidation. And then maybe, you know, maybe a week from now we could get in. US markets have turned positive on the day, now up 0.5%. Something to just throw in the back of my mind is that it looks like it won't be until next week that the Senate in the US passes the coronavirus bill. That should bring some type of market euphoria, perhaps risk off. And if that does, and if we wait that out and we wait for the market reaction to hit, who knows? Maybe we're trading back up at 66, right? Because at 66.80, at 66.90 over here, I like getting a position in here much better than I do at these levels. And so, again, what I'm saying for you, I'm saying for my benefit. All right. Because I'm interested, very interested. We already looked at the euro, Japanese yen. That one is, as Husan nailed it, is just very choppy. Pound Australian dollar, like the pound New Zealand dollar, is interested. I know we just spiked up and then down over here, but it doesn't mean, excuse me. I haven't had an espresso in a while. I don't have any espresso on lockdown, and I really wish. And this, so I see opportunity, even though we've had these huge volatility in wicks on the pound New Zealand dollar, pound Canadian dollar, pound Australian dollar, and I'll consider it. I will consider it later in the day today. I also know I make my best trades, my best swing trades, planning them in Asia, having the order set for London, taking place during London. Pound US dollar, wow. Wow. Enough said. Pound Swiss franc, pound finally just taking back some of its gains, and hopefully that lasts a little while. That's why the pound looks attractive now versus the Australian dollar, Canadian dollar, New Zealand dollar. But also those currencies as well, those commodity currencies are having their time as well after getting wrecked over the past, not just yesterday, for the past 10 days. All right. Let's see what the US equity markets do, if they're able to actually tack on some games or not. That's a good rundown. Thomas, yes, great thing to talk about right now. And so without being able to really give a really good opinion. How about that? So I did trade yesterday, the S&P. I took 125 points going long the S&P, and it's been a long time since I traded the S&P, and I'm kind of bullish on the S&P right now until we hit I'm looking for 2,900. How about that? That's, and if we bounce that high, I'm going to really try to step in to short that and hold out for way longer than these lows. But that's a fluid situation. Are we hitting some support over here? If we regain 20,000, is that an important level? Especially on the Dow, that's a super important psychological level. I'm more looking towards. Remember, it's always buy the rumor, sell the news. And the rumor right now in the markets is the markets are looking forward to the US Senate passing the coronavirus stimulus bill. That's where I'm looking forward to. So is this a time that the markets could bounce? Possibly. Every time they bounce, are they getting sold hard? Yes. There hasn't even been a bounce yet. So I might be able to pull this up. I hope I bookmarked it for you. Yeah, it's right here. This is not the chart that I wanted, but it is a chart that gives us an idea. Let me pull that up for you so I could share it with you. Um, and then Thomas will get right into the difference between Bitcoin, BTC. So what you're looking at here, this is 1915 to 1931. You can see the same structure in the markets over here that he circled out and pointed out. Here is the consolidation period, the breakout. It all looks the same. Now this was, wow. So he drew this before, I don't know when this was published. This was in August of 28. Wow. I bookmarked this for you all last night, but I didn't look at it. I'm looking at it now. Do you realize what happened here? This was published on August 28th. We're going to press play in a second. But here's what happened back then. Does that look familiar? This breakdown? And then look, this is the Tesla pattern, the Bitcoin pattern in 2017, 2018, the one where you come down, snap up, and then boom. Right, let's press play. Look what happened since. Boom, boom. That look familiar? Right? So where we bounce and if we bounce, right? That bounce is what I'm looking to short, right? And that will be a core position in the same way. Could it happen? It's possible. Now, just the other side, you all know that I always talk about the other side of a trade. The other side of this trade is that Brent Johnson, Santiago Capital, the one who has outlaid the milkshake theory to us, and he's dead on. It's happening. He also believes that the S&P, the all equity markets are going to go bananas, making all-time highs. And he believes the reason that's going to happen is because he believes that the US markets, everything else will be so bad that foreign capital will be headed towards the US markets. Even if the dollar is so strong and you have your money in euros inside the European markets and the euro's headed down towards 80 cents, what makes more sense for you to have that money in dollars invested in the US equity markets or in the European markets, right? So that's the other side of the trade, and always have to be aware of the other side of the trade. So thinking it out as always with you all. What's the difference between Bitcoin, BTC, and BCH, Bitcoin Cash? Is so BTC Bitcoin is Bitcoin. That's the real Bitcoin. All right. Bitcoin Cash is a fork of Bitcoin, meaning it had the same code base. They made the block sizes larger. It has then forked off until I don't even know what it's called. Satoshi's what is it? BVI? What? I don't even know what it is. Craig Wright's attempted coup. It is all, in my opinion, absolute garbage. Now you could see some enormous gains. It's an altcoin, the same as XRP, the same as Ethereum, the same as EOS or Litecoin. You could put Bitcoin Cash in that category. And there are times when perhaps Bitcoin Cash will outperform Bitcoin, of course. But better to refer to it as Bitcoin Cash because it's not Bitcoin. All right, everyone. That was our rundown for the morning. It took up 55 minutes, not a short one either, of going through everything. I open it up to all of you if there's anything that you guys want to take a look at and or discuss. I don't know if I lost you all, if you guys could hear me and or are with me. If you could hear me, hit that like button if you haven't already, to help the channel get seen by others. Um, do show your appreciation and or support in the simplest way possible. All right, at least I know someone's listening. That's good enough for me. Um, it's up to you guys whether you guys want to, if you want to call it a session. Give me an opportunity to go ahead and finish banging out this systematic system that I've getting ready to prepare for the course members, and or something else I wanted to put my thoughts out on. I definitely want to put out a long update on the newsletter today. I want to dig into this trade here. Besides that, it's nice sitting pretty in what I am holding. Thanks, Alberto. Alberto, just also really want to make clear, you pointed out to me that you were having a bit of a difficult time finding setups. And although you probably don't know it, I thought that was pretty awesome, because right now in the markets, I have not taken any trades in the last week because nothing was set up. Everything was extended. As you saw from the charts we looked at this morning, everything was so extended. Unless you were holding a position, you honestly should not have been taking new ones. So if you are having trouble and or are having trouble finding setups in this environment, that means you are actually seeing the market correctly and doing the right thing by not engaging. Because now what happened today, or what is happening today, is we're beginning the retrace, and either we'll see big retraces back into, if in downtrends, into resistances, or in uptrends into supports, which I see right now on the pound New Zealand dollar, on the pound Canadian dollar, pound Australian dollar. We're going to start seeing more waves come in like that, and or consolidation periods, which will be able to take trades out of that consolidation. But I just really want to affirm the fact that you were not seeing setups or having a difficult time doing that means that actually you are absolutely doing everything correctly. All right. I don't know, Hanera, if you're in here, buddy. If you are, let me know if you want to get on, and if there's anything you want to look at as far as intraday, and pull up. We could do that. Otherwise, we will call it a good session and a powerful one. I really thought this one was super productive today, because it was more of a finally we've been in the mode where it's just kind of like you have to wait, right? You either in something or you can't really chase after something. Otherwise, it's gambling, which we're not here to do. What could you do in the FX Choice account? So FX Choice, there's a couple advantages of an FX Choice account. They are open to U.S. citizens, so they do open up the increased. Well, they open up everything that the Dodd-Frank prevents. So you don't have to worry about first in, first out. You don't have to worry about being limited to the amount of leverage you could use. Both of those are very important things. And of course, all U.S. citizens need to report all income, um, any earned income, 100%. Now, you could. It also gives the advantage if you see things like myself in being able to use Bitcoin as a base currency. Now, over the last um, over the last what do you call it, month, that was not such a great thing, especially if you did that up here, right? Now, over the last year, yeah, well, you know, of course, you're still up almost, you know, I don't know what you call it, 80%, right? But I'm looking at the big picture, and I'm looking at us being up around here by the end of 2020, right? And then early on into next, and by the end of 2021, I'm looking at $110,000. My base case remains the same, and that's all assuming that we don't overshoot to the upside, as of course I expect we overshoot to the upside. So 110, you know, would I be surprised to see Bitcoin trading at 225,000 or 350,000 in the next 18 months? I would not. Would I be surprised to see Bitcoin trading down at $3,600? No, I wouldn't be surprised anymore. All right, everyone. Let's call it a day. That was a good session. Well, I give it my thumbs up. That was an awesome session. Really important one. And there's a lot of things that I want to get done today. I'm going to get to them. I wish you all a wonderful day. As always, extraordinarily grateful for you. Stay safe. Keep your friends and family safe. And let's keep navigating this all together. I appreciate you all, and I thank you. Talk to you later.